boys and girls. No, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we finally review The Batman.
Where the hell am I?
Welcome, Bruce, to the Literally Me Club.
Oh, no.
The Batman. What a fine film. To say that watching this movie in the theaters was an experience is no less than an understatement. Look, I know there's going to be 1,000 reviews praising the hell out of this movie, and rightfully so, but let me just gush about it and let me move on with my life. Until part 2 comes out, that is. Now, what makes this movie great? Well, I ain't no movie expert, and my opinion's probably worth less than fuck all. Anyway, let's fucking go. Okay, first, the writing and the direction in this movie were of top tier. The comic book gods came down and blessed the hands of Matt Reeves and Peter Craig while writing the script. Honestly though, this reboot of Batman feels like I was watching a comic book but in live action. As weird as that sounds, let me explain. This Batman is pretty fucking cool, but he isn't perfect. We got to see a more grittier, darker, and more traumatized version of the character. We also got to see a lot of vulnerability and vengefulness in the Batman. The director, Matt Reeves, also said that he based this Batman's character around Kurt Cobain, which honestly is such a unique and refreshing take on the character. And after finally watching the movie, I think it worked out pretty well. Something's always tormenting the Batman, and it seems like he's always using the Batman as a way to escape from that trauma. Feels like an unhinged madman bent out on revenge. In short, this Batman has a ton of layers and nuances that really flesh out his character and make him feel a lot more believable. But this movie carefully makes it seem like that the Batman isn't this big guy running around controlling all the chaos in Gotham. Rather, it feels like he is also part of that on-running chaos that occurs in Gotham. Speaking of Gotham, I feel like this movie did good in terms of the world building. The environment of all this feels pretty natural when it comes to Gotham. Like, you get to see this carefully structured, gritty, crime-filled world bathed in an eerie red-orange light. But on the flip side, it all feels real. Like, all the tiny little actions made by the characters felt believable. It feels like you yourself are enveloped in this chaos, trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. And the godlike cinematography in it makes you feel like you are part of this world. And the rest of the cast is amazing too. Like, that's another thing this movie got right. The side characters feel as important as the main character. And honestly, that's the best type of movie. Catwoman, Gordon, the Penguin, all had fresh takes on them. We get to see these characters that we seemingly already know about, but explored in different ways. And look, I know some people are going to whine about the movie being like, oh, it's 3 hours. And to that I say, shut the fuck up, you TikTok addicted, short attention span motherfuckers. The movie, instead of being this fast-paced, high-octane, generic, adrenaline-filled hype machine, instead chooses to take its time properly to introduce the characters, to properly introduce the setting, to properly invest us in the details. Which honestly works in favor of the whole investigation, mystery, thriller vibe the movie goes for. All the details for solving the mystery are given to the viewer, without them being directly spoon-fed to the audience. And the villain does a fantastic job of luring us into this whole evil genius scheme. Just when you think you figured out the next trick, bam, he pulls out another one through his sleeve, fooling you into doing exactly what he wanted to do all along. Honestly though, why did it take such a long time for the Riddler to be brought into live action? He's such an interesting villain in the cartoons that it baffles me that it took them this long for him to be finally adapted into live action. And Paul Dano does such an incredible job portraying the Riddler. And last but certainly not least, the fucking music in this movie. Oh my god, bro. The music, the OST in this movie is a little fucking godsend. Every time that dun 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 hit, oh my god, bro. I felt like I ascended the fucking universe. Not to mention the rest of the background music. It was well done too. We got this fucking score of a somewhat reminiscent of a horror film. Sometimes these plucky strings would come in and go that would send chills down the spine. And when it needed to go full fucking suspense, we got a full fucking string orchestra that would come in. And the use of the song, Something in the Way, keeps up with the whole Nirvana vibe. The fight scenes in this movie were also a breath of fucking fresh air. Usually in normal action movies, we get these perfectly choreographed fights where the hero can do no mistake while fighting, which for the most of the time makes for boring fight scenes. But in this movie, we get these ugly, realistic, quick fight scenes. They don't look perfect, and that's what makes the fight scenes stand out. We get to see Batman hit, but not for the sake of it, but hit for real, and a lot of time for that matter. We also see him get fatigued, and the fucking sound design in these scenes elevate them to a whole nother level. Like, you can feel the punches in your gut when you hear these sound effects in the fight scenes. To wrap it up, do I dare compare it to the Dark Knight trilogy? Well, I define this movie as not just a great superhero movie, but a great fucking movie in general. And if Matt Reeves continues down this line, I think this new trilogy could outclass the Dark Knight trilogy. It holds a lot of potential. Personally, I'd like to see a lot of less popular Batman villains like Clayface or Mr. Freeze come into the play. And to give my final rating or whatever, I'd like to say I'd give it a strong 9 to a 10. Well, until next time, goodbye.